You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dini Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hi guys, I am dini-mussolini, and I just want to tell you that knowledge and technology are advancing at such a rapid pace that we must always be learning new things. That means every day is a challenge and a necessity. If you're not using the latest tools and techniques, your competition is, you better believe it, and you're falling behind. But how can you keep up in such a fast-changing world? Most books on new technology are out of date by the time they are printed. It's difficult to learn from someone else because either they don't have the time or they're charging way too much for the secrets, yeah. The answer is to just try them. Try the things. And the best way to do that is to be curious and have fun. Spend time playing creative, you know? Look at how small children and how they learn so much so fast. Their prime motivation is to have fun and to satisfy their endless curiosity. And the result is an astonishing amount of learning in a short period of time. Take a look at that new software upgrade you just installed. Yeah, the one that's loaded with the new features. Don't just continue to use it the same way you used it before. I'm guilty of that. Try some of the new features, even if you don't have a practical use for them. Once you try them and understand how they work, you'll probably find some very useful practical things you can do with them. Be curious, try things, have fun. It's an approach that's recommended by respected management gurus such as Tom Peters. It's the philosophy behind most of the successful business of today. Take it from me, Dini-Mussolini, that is my word, and word is bond.
You're live in the mix. Let's get this started.
Yo, it feels so good to be back with you guys once again. So one time for my people who are indigos and starseeds, and 2 times for my people who are vegans. We are averaging over 34,000 plus listeners, and we've been at this for 3 solid years. I appreciate all you guys who've been rocking with the kid on this journey, and we're still growing, baby. It is all because of you, most definitely. We are the people who have dedicated their lives to music, spirituality, business, literature, art, movies, and research in every aspect. And we want to allow you an opportunity to tell your story. Man, we've had celebrities on the show, from Grammy Award-winning artists, nominees, to actors, comedians, CEOs, technology geniuses, visual artists, from authors to professors and aliens. Or people who think they're aliens. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Come on our show and talk to me. So check it out. To book an interview or just to share a real cool story, email me at vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. I'm passionate about what I do, just as passionate about what you do, and together, yes, together, we can get your voice heard by the people who should hear it. So let's create something incredible. And with that, hello out there, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Vigilantes Radio. Thank you again, as always, for tuning in and being a part of our audience family. You know the number to dial. It's 701-801-9813 to connect with us or our guests, or you can hop in the mix directly from my website, which is onlyonemediagroup.com. Scroll over to the Vigilantes Radio tab and slap that go live button, and you'll be right here live in the mix with all of us or in the chat room. So feel free to shoot over some questions to ask our guests while they are here. And as always, all episodes are available for free download. You can grab that from Spreaker.com/only1mediagroup, iTunes, YouTube, the app called Podcast Addict, or over at our website. And that goes for every single episode that we've ever aired.
Well, I don't want to keep you fine folks waiting any longer, so let's go ahead and dive deep into this interview. Well, tonight's interview is the P-Cruz interview, and I am your host, if you didn't know, Dini-Mussolini. So it's not every day that you'll get to tune in to an interview with an artist that shoots for the moon. Yet stay incredibly down to earth. Seriously. So we have a familiar face and voice with us tonight. My man's P-Cruz Punscription. Yeah, that's a duo that I hope my duo, No Longer the Hero, would tour with one day, maybe, you know? So new music is coming, by the way, from No Longer the Hero, but it's not about us. All right, so P-Cruz, he creates no illusions about who he is or why he does what he do. There's an incredible intelligence in his approach to the game, and he's becoming more relevant and prominent today in New York's hip-hop scene than ever before. Knowing P-Cruz only makes me hungry, not for food, my sillies, but for life. He's extremely inspiring through his knowledge, drive, and passion for his craft that very well could be unmatched out there in rap today. We'll talk about the genre's classifications, the beginnings and the future of P-Cruz, and how he continues to challenge himself. He has an insane amount going on. It'll be awesome to have a strong voice from hip-hop here with us tonight at Vigilantes Radio once again. So with that, let's welcome my man's P-Cruz to our show. Hey, man, you're now live in the mix with all of us. How's it going, and how are you feeling?
Hello. Thank you for that intro, man. And I really hope we get to tour one day together, too.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would be super dope. Sorry again for calling it early before, but you know what's funny is I feel like I was meant to call in early because I heard the intro before when you were like, just do it, and I really needed to hear that actually at that moment in time.
Yeah, that's great, man.
So thank you for that, man. I really think things usually happen for a reason. So, but anyway, how you doing, man?
So we'll call earlier like an exclusive, you know.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Man, how's the duo, by the way?
We're doing all right. We just so I could get like, you know, I've had like stuff I've been working on that I wanted to put out for a bit, so I just needed to take time to do that. But now we're slowly starting to like demo songs again, and I'm putting like I've been sending Pete Lonobo like just songs that I'm kind of like coming back to and like tightening up the production on. Like, you know, I'll send them over an email and be like, yo, here's like what I visited today. Let's try to get like, you know, the lyrics here like tightened up, and then like next time we see each other we could just record. So it's been weird, like not weird, sorry, it's just been a lot for me to try to figure out my solo live show actually, and then also trying to like finish this kind of like record that I've had with Punscription like in the works for a little bit that I had to kind of put on hiatus so I could like put my solo work out. So it's been a little crazy, but I think it's, you know, whenever things get crazy and busy, I think it's always worth it. So, yeah.
And like being in a duo myself is always, you know, when people see one of us doing something, it's like, uh-oh, what happened to the crew? What happened to the crew?
Yeah.
So, you know, that was my first thought, you know, when this came across my desk. It was like, oh, no. I went to search, like, okay. The Facebook is still there. Okay, the Twitter's still there. All right, let's check for the last time they tweeted. Okay. It's like, you know, I'm not going to make the whole show focused on, you know, okay, what happened to the group? Let's get the juicy stuff out, you know.
No, that's purpose, cool. That's cool. No, we're still working on some stuff, but a lot of this is just like for me. I think I think, a long time coming, because I've just had so many songs that I've just like wanted to put out, and I kind of want to, I don't know, I almost just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. Like, that may not be the greatest motivation, but I needed to prove to myself that I could do this. And like, the thing for me with solo work is like, no matter what happens, is like, I have nobody else to blame but me. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to do something where it's like, all right, if like I didn't get this done, like, that's my fault. You know what I mean? I like, that might be a like crazy sign of motivation, like all those things, but it's really just I'm not gonna like lie that like some of it isn't ego. You know, I'm still proving myself to myself, and which is like I think going to be a lifelong process for me, and like this kind of solo EP was like a big part of that. So
yeah, but you're great at what you do, man. And
thank you, man. Thank you for your kind words. That means a lot, seriously. So,
yeah, man. I'm always impressed, man. I go back, you know, to your SoundCloud and check out some of your solo stuff every now and then. And you was always rocking it, man. You were always rocking it. I dig your style, man. So, going back to the whole solo aspect, where you have to prove to yourself, that is always the hardest challenge, I think, for anybody, when it's, okay, how can I one-up myself? Versus, okay, you have a partner to rely on when, you know, you fall off a bit, or, you know, you just need some reassurance with a, you know, with a crew or whatever. And then when it's just you, it's like the pressure is 10 times as great. Do you feel that way at this particular time?
Yeah, it's funny, because I think the pressure was great in terms of like, I really had to push myself to get these things done, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm waiting on this verse from my partner or whatever. It's really just like me having to push myself to like get these songs done in the way that I wanted them to. But like, artistically, it was really a lot easier for me, because I didn't have anybody that I had to like run anything by, you know, like this, which is actually why it's been hard for me to figure out. Like, my live setup is a little nuts. It's a bit overwhelming, but I kind of had to do it this way, because I have a lot of really self-indulgent moments in my eyes, or in my ears, at least, like on this record, because it was just like, I can't self-indulge, because I had nobody telling me, no, you can't, like this part is like too long, or like this, like we need to cut this. It was really just me, like, all right, this is how I feel, like I'm going to indulge in this part, like, no matter what, and I can, because nobody's telling me no, you know. So like, artistically it was easier, but actually like technically getting it done was like really the hard part. And I actually, one of my friends that I credit as like I credit with him with additional production on it. If you look at the credits, because he was really like, he played keys in a band that I used to be in. And one day I just kind of sent him like a demo. I was like, dude, I'm going crazy. Like, I think I'm going to like, you know, ask your advice on this. And then he helped me organize like one of the songs. Like, I had the parts ready, and he's like, yeah, what if this goes here? And I was like, oh, great. And then through the mixing process, he was kind of like my person that I was like, yo, you need to tell me if this mix sounds okay, because I'm going crazy, like, listening to these songs over and over again. You know? So it was definitely nice to have that, but it was also a little taxing, just because like I'm glad to have my friend Chris Brizzy, like, who was doing that for me, because I think I would have ultimately got nuts, because by the time it was time to mix and master, I completely lost sight of everything, you know. Like, if I didn't have my live show to work on, I probably would have gotten sick of this EP already, like, even though it hasn't come out yet, because I've just like had to listen to everything over and over again, you know.
Yeah. So when are we going to get the EP?
Oh, it's so a single today. I'm not sure when this is gonna air, or I know it's live right now, but I don't know when the recorded version is. But today I put the first single out for it, and then next week, 10/27, the whole EP should come out. So,
nice.
Yeah, it's in about a week. Yeah. So,
how many songs?
It's 5 songs. Yeah,
5 songs. Cool.
Yeah.
Name of it?
Yeah, and it's called Letter to Miss Ives.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any Penny Dreadful fans out there, but it's actually it's like a direct reference to this show, Penny Dreadful. And Miss Ives is this character portrayed by Eva Green, the actress Eva Green, and I was kind of like, it's like really supernatural, and like it's funny that you say vampires and that it's close to Halloween. I didn't even plan to release this close to Halloween, but there's like vampires and like all of these like literary horror characters, or like literary allusions to like Victorian era characters, like Frankenstein's monster is in it, Dr. Frankenstein's in it. It's this whole thing. There's a werewolf in it, and there's this one scene of like this seance is happening, right? And this actress Eva Green has to go through all of these characters, like a ton of crazy characters, a ton of different emotions. And I found out through an interview that like they had to do this one scene from multiple angles over multiple days, and they had to do multiple takes within those days. And apparently her co-star was like, and she did not break her character 1 second the whole time. And it's just like this really intense scene. I'm pretty sure you can YouTube it. It's like Penny Dreadful seance scene, and it's like, when I heard that, like I'm getting chills, like just thinking about it right now. Like I felt like I was like, I feel like I haven't given myself that much to music yet. Like, and that's why I wanted to do a solo EP, just based off of that, because I was like, okay, I could do this thing where like nobody else really has any say, and I could just try to fully give myself as much as I can to this one record, which is why sonically, it's a lot different. Like I put like more guitars on it and stuff, like I'm singing on it more, and not because I necessarily think I'm good at singing, but because those melodies came into my head at that time for that song, and like I wanted to have, and I wanted to perform it. There's actually only one feature on the EP, so everything else is me. And then I actually, like, whenever I want to beef up like a chorus or something, like I'll be recording, and then I'll ask my wife, like, hey, I need like some extra vocals, can you come over here for a second? So I'll just like have her come over to the mic, and just like I'll loop one section, and I'm like, yo, you just have to say this over and over again, and I'll just like take some takes and like chop it together, so but anyway, yeah, so long story long, it's called Letter to Miss Ives, and it's a reference to that television character, Miss Ives. So
cool deal. Yeah. It's always wonderful to have a studio handy and a wife. yeah. Or kids. Hey, come chant this real quick.
Man, yeah. Yeah. Adds production value. Yeah, definitely. So so that'll be coming out October 27th.
Nice, man. Make sure you send me a link, and I'll definitely support you. And
definitely. I'll grab your. I'm not sure if I have, because I've been using my new email address for things. So I'll grab your email before I sign off today, and I'll send it over. And if you want to give me your mailing address, I'll gladly send over a CD too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great, man. Great. So let's go ahead, man. Thank you so much, because all that was unscripted, folks. That's how professional we are, He can answer professionally, and I can, ramble along. So, I'm definitely excited talking to you, man, because just new music is coming. That feeds my curiosity. I hunger for underground music, man, that I think everybody should know about, and just seeing you take this step forward for yourself, I think is a great accomplishment, because we always have those peers, or the what ifs, or the retrospect about our life at particular times, like, what if I would have just gave it my all as such and such, what would have been the outcome, And nobody want to think about those things 20 years from now when it's too late.
No, not at all. That's like, I think about that a lot too. And I also try to like, I think I would go quick because, you know, whenever I'm on Instagram, right, like I'm always seeing other MCs and stuff like out like all the time, like doing open mics or doing their shows and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, oh shit, am I doing enough? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy to like try to find a balance of like being inspired by those other artists and be like, yeah, maybe I should go out like in the scene a little more often. But then I have to realize, like, apply it to my own life. Like I do as much as I can. You know?
Right.
So it's like, it's crazy because I never know what everybody's situation is, you know. So it's like, it's been really, it's funny. Just like a few minutes ago, I was checking Instagram and I was like, shit, like I'm at home right now, like feeling sick, and like these people are out like hustling. Like, what am I doing? And in my head, I'm like, wait, no, like you're still working on your shit, and like you'll be ready to start like playing shows when it's your time, you know. So.
Yeah, that's how I think about it, man. It's like, you know, what you're saying, you look at all these people and, you know, everybody's story different. Everybody's situation may be different.
Yeah.
They're out, you know, in the clubs all the time. They're, you know, doing their thing, and I'm here at home, you know, and my comfy slippers.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? At a time, I used to be that hungry too, where I was always in the club, but now I have a family and a home life, and you know, I don't know, man. I believe like once you get a certain age, those things don't really cross your mind anymore because you're now thinking of other things that are what we call maybe more important, you know, than a music career. And then that time when you're alone and you're thinking about that said career, is like, man, maybe I have to juggle this a little bit better. Yeah, it's always a struggle, man. Is that the type of, you know, things that you think about?
Yeah. I mean, all the time. Because I'm like, because I have this problem where like I spread myself thin, like, because I just love like anything I'm involved in, like I love to do it, you know. Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm like, am I just gonna be a jack of all trades and master of none my whole life, you know? And part of me is just like there's a certain part of my life that I'm like, all right, I really like this hobby, like I'm really passionate about it, but should I like just fucking quit it and just like do like just dedicate that time that I would and just put that into music? And then I just have to think that like I just have to remember that other like part of my life is like it lets me express myself in a different way, you know?
Yeah. And
like that counts for something. But like there's always these moments of like, I mean, a lot of it is insecurity, man. I'm like one of the most insecure people you'll ever meet. Like a lot of it is insecurity of me just being like, oh man, like I don't deserve to call myself an artist because I don't do this much. I mean, that's like why I did this record for myself. Yeah. Like I just needed to prove to myself that I was capable of doing what I tell myself I'm capable of doing, you know? And like just having like, I mean, it was a big relief to me when I ordered a CD. And yes, I still buy CDs. For anybody listening out there, I still buy CDs and vinyls. Because it's just different for me to have a tactile, like, you know, I mean, sometimes I'll buy things digitally, but especially underground artists, I really like to buy physical stuff. But when I had like the CD of the EP in my hand, I kind of like was able to take I had a huge metaphorical like kind of sigh of relief, you know, like, okay, you're not crazy, like you did this.
Man, we are one of the same. I have one of mine and still in a shrink wrap, you know, just sitting there. It's like, okay, you gonna open it?
It's nice to see it.
Nah, I just wanted to sit there.
Yeah,
I did that. All right, man. So we know about you now, you know, from, you know, just conversating between you and myself.
Yeah.
Who are you? You know, what are you all about? Where did you come from? Give us the whole background of P-Cruz.
Oh man, that's a really loaded question, but I will try my best to answer it. You know, I was born and raised in Queens, New York. Music has always sort of been part of my life. When I was a kid, I had asked to take piano lessons from my parents, which is really funny that it's like the first instrument that I played. Piano and clarinet were the first instruments that I played, actually. And it's like really funny because I don't do either of those anymore. Like, I think I've forgotten more music than I have, learned. Like, I think I've forgotten most of the things that I've learned in those instruments. But I think that was just really important for me, just to be exposed. Like, whenever I would go, I was just talking about this with somebody, actually. So I went to the Brooklyn Queens Conservatory of Music. And the Queens branch is actually closed down right now, but I think just seeing people like who are older than me, like hustling, especially like jazz musicians, seeing that growing up and like being like this frustrated kid who didn't really understand like pop music and like the record industry like I do now, I was like, oh, these people are so fucking talented and nobody's ever gonna know because like they're never gonna be as famous as all these pop musicians. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this world? And just to see this like reality that they probably knew about because they were a lot older than me, like seeing that reality and looking back on it and being like, holy shit, this didn't faze them, they just did it because they loved it. Like that, I think that had a huge profound effect on me, you know. So even though I didn't really retain anything other than like my drumming really from like when I went to music school back then, nice. I think that was just like really important for me, like being around those people who were hustling, like these jazz musicians who, man, I would watch them shed like 8 hours a day, you know, like they would just sit in a music school and like I would like, it was just crazy to me. And like, especially when I saw this dude shedding on like fucking like upright bass, you know, that's killer on your hands, you know, it's like this huge ass instrument. And this dude was just relentless. And just seeing that motivation without really, I don't think they really had an end in sight, you know. I don't think they were like, I mean, they were jazz musicians. Like as amazing as jazz musicians are, like they're not the most widely recognized musicians, even though they rip, you know. And like to see that hustle, man, like it's funny to like think about that. I was just talking about this with somebody the other day, and I was like, shit, man, like seeing that had a huge effect on me, and I'm like just realizing that like now, you know. Yeah. So anyway, so I did that with music, and then in high school is when I got into drumming, and like I was playing mostly in like rock bands. And then, I mean, the Roots changed everything for me. Like, when I heard the Roots and I heard Questlove, I mean, he like, you know, when I first got into drumming, I was always impressed by people who were like, doing crazy drum solos and being all technical and stuff. And then when I heard my first Roots album, oh my God, I was like, holy shit, it's not even about that. Like Questlove just holds everything together. And not that he can't rip, because he could rip. He could, like, Questlove could really rip. Like, if you've ever been to a Roots show, he'll always do some crazy solo. I mean, I remember when I went to go see them as a kid, and I saw them a few times on around the same era, he would do this crazy, like, digital, like, drum solo, where his, like, I don't know, there's crazy delay going on and stuff. But yeah, so he could rip. Like, that was a big moment for me, because I was just like, oh, look at this guy, like he could do whatever he wants on the drums, but he just holds it down and is just this kind of like I don't know, and like this director, you know, and he was just holding everything together. And then of course, you know, like hearing Black Thought, me and Pete actually talk about this all the time, how just Black Thought is always just like, to this day, is just so scary. Like, we're like, yo, we would never want to be on a track with Black Thought, because he just goes on for days. It's really, really crazy. It's crazy. There was this recent thing with him and Method Man, like freestyling, and it was just like, whoa, like Black Thought is just like not stopping, you know. It was amazing. So that's how I really, really got into hip hop. Like, I think the Roots and Lupe Fiasco are the people who really like, and Rage Against the Machine. Are really kind of what brought me into hip hop. And then I don't know, something happened. I started wanting to rap, you know, because somebody asked me this question recently, actually, and I was like, I was like, how the fuck do I answer this? And like the first thing that came to my head was that like these like people like Lupe Fiasco, dead-prez, Pharoah Monch, The Roots, like all of them like spoke to me and made me think about myself and the world around me in a way that I hadn't before. And the fact that they were able to do this like through rapping, you know, I think that's what really started to get me into it. And I think I remember one of the first times I wrote really wrote a verse about is like some kid that I grew up with like got into this freak car accident, and like I like wrote a verse about it, and I was like, oh, this like feels cathartic, you know. And that's back when I just had like this Korg Electric synthesizer and like my drum kit, and I would just like make beats on that, and I would just rap, and I didn't really show anybody, you know. I wasn't always secure about it. And then kind of like years later, and now this is like what takes up most of my musical brain. It's like, like sitting in front of my computer and programming and trying to write what I can. And I don't know, that's the long story long behind me, I guess.
Definitely cool though.
Yeah,
very cool, man. So let's talk about the music for a second. Well, the genre. So a lot of people still recognize rap and hip hop as being one and the same. That being said, if it's looked at, you know, as hip hop, it may leave people wondering who has come along to innovate or change the game throughout the years, or if anyone has, you know, actually changed and impact the game for what it is since the original masters of the MIC. Who do you believe was instrumental in helping innovate the genre of hip hop?
Oh man, that is really that's a really tough question, because on any given day I'd probably give you different answers. But for me personally, and this is my issue, you know, like I will never claim to be like a hip hop historian, you know. I mean, that's why I love being like in a band with Pete and Punch Christian, because he's just so much more engulfed in like everything hip hop, you know. Whereas like for me, and this is with all music, whether it be hip hop, rock, classical, whatever, I get attached to like one artist, you know, and I will listen to them forever. Like I will listen to them until, you know, back when I had a CD player, I would listen to them until the disc started skipping, you know. And then so that didn't really give me enough time to like get like, I guess, you know, enough of a pulse on everything to like really make a statement that I think is like, I feel like whatever I say about innovation and history of hip hop is like a moot point, because like who am I to say that, you know? Because like I listen to a lot of hip hop, but I listen to it in the sense of like I really love this artist and I'm gonna consume them, and I've never listened to hip hop just because it's hip hop, you know. Because for me, music has always been this just like this huge art piece, you know. But that being said, from my limited knowledge of hip hop, that I consider as limited knowledge, like I really think a lot of, for me, like I think Timbaland and LP are like, it's just crazy. I mean, like LP, if you just hear what he did with Company Flow, and then like now, like I'm so happy Run the Jewels is getting as big as it is, and it's just crazy to me that like rap music didn't get as big when it did, because that was like, you know, that was like when they did, like that was the first time they did something together. Like LP, if you go in his back catalog, he's crazy. He's been like innovating things like forever. Like those Company Flow beats are like, to I think the standard of like anything else going on at the time, are a little messy. Like they're a little fucked up, and I love that, you know. And he's still a little fucked up. Like it's really cool, and I think LP is like huge, like hugely underrated producer in the mainstream. I think all my friends who are hip hop heads like love LP. You know, they of course know LP, but just to the mainstream, I'm so happy RTJ is like so huge now, because like LP is insane. I mean, I just discovered this track he did with Zach De La Rocha last year, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's still doing crazy weird shit. Like, it was just this insane beat that was just totally blown out, and like nothing that I've heard from RTJ. Like, you know what I mean? So he's still, and then Timbaland, the reason why I love him so much is because, like, it's crazy to me that, like, you know, remember when Missy Elliott played the Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, oh shit, like who, like all the people who didn't grow up with Missy Elliott were like, oh shit, who is this person? And there was this kind of like rediscovery of Missy Elliott. And it's funny because if you, like, to me, if you listen to the things that Timbaland did with Missy Elliott, and if you played them now, I think they would still be like sonically relevant. Yeah. I think Timbaland has always been ahead of his time, like always. You know, and like, you know, I'll probably Timbaland has always been to me just like way ahead of his time. Like, I remember when I first heard Missy Elliott when I was a kid, my mind was like, what is this amazing, like, what are these sounds? You know? And then I think like NERD too is like huge, like for me personally, like just like what the NERD and the Neptunes have done with rapping, and like how they incorporated that with their beats, I mean, have just always been really great. So like producers wise, that's for me. Like those three at this moment in time are who I could think of, but on any other day it might be somebody different, you know? Yeah,
man, going back to Timbaland, like you said, man, it was just that period where he was just, you know, so creative. The sound was different. I mean, you can hear it in Genuine Records, Missy Elliott, and then the Timbaland and Magoo records. It was just crazy music. And you're right, man. If it would have came out like tomorrow, it would still, you know, dominate.
It would still be hot, man. It would really be. It would still be like, because I don't think anybody sounds like him, you know.
No.
Like at all. I mean, I would not have been remotely interested in Justin Timberlake if it wasn't for shit
right.
together, you know? And I think he's just one of those, like, and it's funny because, I mean, to me at least, I don't know much about the mainstream, but he's not like, you know, I've never seen him as in like the limelight, you know? Like everybody knows who Timbaland is, but I've never seen him in like a tabloid headline or something, you know? So
right.
I consider that to him like, you know, kind of being on the low, which is cool. But, yeah, so I mean, they've always been, those producers are just like people that I look up to. That I'm always just like, why am I doing this? It's like whenever I listen to their shit, especially these days with LP. You know, like I was like, man, whenever I listen to like, you know, a new RTJ record, or just go back in like in the Definitive Jux stuff and like just things that LP has done is like wow, all the cool shit that he did like years ago, I'm only like making shit that's maybe half as cool now, you know?
Yeah. Man, I was also just like you, man. Like, I'm not a hip hop historian, but I have to fill in the blanks here and there. You know, I pretend a lot, you know. But I was just like you, man. I had one artist or a few artists that I was just totally consumed with. That's all I played over and over. LP wasn't one, but there was one close to LP, and that was A$AP Rock. That I was
dude,
just
don't even get me started on the Impossible Kid, yo. Don't even get me started
I was just so indulged with that guy.
Yo, I don't know if you've kept up with him recently, but like once again, Peter and I talk about this all the time. We think the Impossible Kid, his most recent record, is like a perfect album. Like from front to back, I don't skip any songs on that album. And the crazy thing, I don't know if you've read up on him recently, A$AP Rock. And it's funny, whenever I mention him, I'm like, A$AP Rock, no dollar sign. Like,
right.
I made that clear. You know, not that, you know, the other artist is fine, but I always have to make it clear to people, because even though he's been around longer, he's not nearly as popular, you know. So I remember when I went to an FYE to buy the Impossible Kid, actually, and I had to correct him. I'm like, no, I'm looking for this artist. But he had actually, like, recently he was on an interview. He's like, he's been on antidepressants for like 16 years, right?
Oh, wow.
So he's been making all of this music like crazy, and then he had this, like, he was saying how I'm totally paraphrasing too, how he, like, you know, I like took he was saying how he took this medicine to like be like that it like sort of changed him, so he sort of doesn't know who he is because he's been taking these like, you know, these chemical alterating like medications for like 16 years. So he recently just started like coming off of them. I heard it in an interview, you know, and I'm like really curious. I'm like, oh my God, like I wonder how this is going to change his music in the future, you know? Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, A$AP Rock is one of those people for me, like lyrically, where I'm just like, I mean, I could spend probably an entire year listening to one song and still not understand his references, you know?
You can never understand them. I mean, I had the lyric book one time and I was like, man, I mean, the words are so perfectly placed, but it doesn't really make sense. I can't make heads or tails of it.
And I love it. I love it because I feel like I'm getting to know him because of that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, consumed with artists for such a long time, you feel like you know them. It's just like I'm friends with Busy Bone now, and I was telling him stuff that he really never, you know, told anyone in interviews or anything. when I interviewed him a while back, and I was just talking to him, you know, on the phone. He was like, "Man, how do you know all this stuff?" I said, "Man, I listened to your tracks like from way back when you started up to now, and you can piece stories together. So I'm able to tell you things. You're like, oh man, you're."
All right, guys. At this point, we have to do a producer's edit. This is where the internet just blacked out, but P-Cruz held on, and we kept it rolling. Anyway, what I was going to say is that Busy said I was more than a fan because I was able to piece together stories of his life through his music just by listening, from the early start of his career until, you know, he's still rocking it till today. Well, back to your normal broadcast.
So, I don't know what all you heard, where I stopped, but...
yeah, the last thing I remember is you were talking about, like, getting to know an artist through their music.
Yeah, definitely. So, I can definitely, you know, feel you when you said that you were consumed with artists and you're not really a hip-hop historian, you know. Same for me, man. But let's think for a second. Like DJ Academic said, like, and I think because of our age, or my age rather, I'm 34, so I've seen waves come and go in hip hop. From you know the Dr. Dre's to the 50 Cents and what we have now. And DJ Academic said, like, some rappers these days might have grew up off of Soulja Boy, which is almost depressing. I mean, not saying that he's whack or anything, but that is depressing. But, you know, when Soulja Boy came out, he was growing up off of 50 Cent and not Tupac or Rakim or Biggie or LP or, you know, the greats like that. Do you think... And this is always the question that comes up in, you know, in hip hop. Do you think it's like an artist's responsibility to travel back in time to know where things come from?
I don't. You know what? I'm gonna say no because I don't like to impose anything on anybody. You know. Like, I don't know, like, the art is to that person what it is for them, and, like, that's me saying it now. Like, I bet you if you talked to me, like, 5-6 years ago, I'd have been like, no, man, they gotta listen to the OGs, you know? Like, and that's funny, because I don't consider myself a hip-hop historian, but I have gone back and, like, you know, if somebody recommends me a classical record, like, I'll listen to it, you know? I may not attach myself to it, but, like, I'll listen to it, so, like, I'm aware of it. But there's also, like, just like with any kind of music, I don't know, like, I had one friend who I really, like, he actually, like, got me into, like, some of the metal that I'm into. And what he would do whenever he would get into a genre of music, he would start from the beginning, no matter what it was. Like, when he did it with hip-hop, he did it with metal, and that was his process, you know, like, that was, and, where it's like for me, I feel like I was always the opposite. Is like I would find an artist that that I liked, and I'm like, oh, I guess this is called something. Like recently I got into melodic death metal. I didn't even know it was a genre. Like, I had no idea. I was just like, oh shit, I really like this band. This band rips. Like, what is this called? And then, you know, I was asking my friends about it, and they're like, yeah, MDM. I was like, I didn't know MDM existed. Melodic death metal. Like, I had no idea. And so, like, I'll go and check it out for a little bit, but I'll always just go back to the artist I initially got into. You know, like, it's very hard for me to listen to something just because of the genre. You know, that being said, is like, that's kind of like that's my curiosity, you know? And if somebody doesn't have that curiosity, you know, like, I don't know, I wouldn't want to force that onto them, because it might just leave a bad taste in their mouth, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like people should just, you know, especially when it comes to art, especially because it's so vast now. Like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like people should just be free to explore when they're meant to, you know, when they're curious about it, because then I think they'll gain something from it, you know? It's almost like at school, you know? I don't remember shit from school. I don't remember anything, because it was just kind of force-fed to me, you know? And did that do me any good? Not really. I don't know. I don't think it did. School taught me to, like, think about things around me and all of this, but, like, in terms of, like, the facts that were shoved down my throat, I don't remember anything. But, like, now I'm reading books about, like, modern history and all of this stuff, and it sticks because I want to do it, you know?
Right.
Like, I recently like have taken classes of subjects that I wanted to, just like one-off classes, and I was like, man, I was never this student. Like, I bring a notebook, I take notes, like, I will do everything because I'm choosing to, you know? And, like,
right.
I feel like it's like the same thing with art. Is like, I don't know, if you shove somebody, like, if you force feed somebody art, like, I don't know how much good that's really doing anybody, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't do them any good, man. Especially when it comes to learning. It's more powerful when a person wants to learn versus when it's, okay, you have to do this because if you don't go to school, I go to jail, or, you know, or you'll go to jail. And it's almost like religion, you know, when people are force-fed religion, they're usually the Satan spawns, you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
bad apples.
Oddly enough, a lot of, like, this EP, and, like, as to why it's, like, talks about, like, another reason why it's connected to this Penny Dreadful show is because there's a lot of, like, for me, I grew up in a Catholic household, you know, and, like, I wouldn't change that for anything. Like, that's fine, but it's like, I don't consider myself a Catholic today, and there's a little bit of friction because of that in my family, you know, just a little bit. It's like, and a lot of this is, like, really quite a few songs on this EP, if you listen to it, is very much questioning, like, institutions of religion, not really, like, the spirituality itself, which I think is wonderful, you know, but it's a lot of it is, like, questioning, like, this like faith according to, like, organized religion. So and I think that the reason it's so funny, because I don't consider myself a Catholic, but if you look at my lyrics, there's two things that come up a lot, and that's Matrix references and biblical references, you know. And I think a lot of the reason that is because, one, I grew up in a Catholic household, and two, is because this was, like, an institution that was kind of force-fed to me. It's like, that's what I naturally kind of rebelled against, you know?
Yeah.
So a lot of that, like, shows up. So yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that, you know. And it's like the same thing with music. Like, I get it. Like, when people are like, oh, like, these new rappers, like, they don't even know who these and these are. And, like, for a second, that's my knee-jerk reaction. It's like, what? Like, they don't know, they don't respect these hip-hop artists. Like, when that dude said that, like, Nas is not real hip-hop, you know? Like, I was like, what the, like, at first I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this person, you know? Yeah. And then, like, after I calmed down for a little bit, I was like, that's a really crazy blanket statement to me, because that is, like insane in my world, you know. But I don't know, to him, like, I guess that's the case, you know. And I can't get mad at somebody for something like that, you know. I don't know. Yeah, but I get it. I get the knee-jerk reactions. It's like, how could you even think to say that Nas isn't real hip hop. You know, you obviously just haven't given, you know, like the hip hop, you know, they didn't go backwards, you know. And then, you know, at first I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like about to like, you know, I get angry about it for a second, and then I'm like, what's the point of getting angry about it? Like, I don't know, who am I? Like, who am I to get angry at this person? Like, this is what music is to them, and if they don't want to listen to Nas, then, you know, they're lost, you know. Yeah.
All right, man. So once again, man, we're gonna take it a little further. How do you personally find new creative ways to get innovative with your music, and how do you challenge yourself as an artist when making rhymes and production, especially when it came to your new single "Hollow" reprise, featuring Stic-Man of dead-prez?
Yeah. Oh, like how did I push myself on that particular track?
Yeah, and just in general as well.
Yeah. So, have you heard the track yet?
I haven't. Nope. I will.
Okay, so when you do hear it, like, yeah, like when you do hear it, it'll be pretty obvious that I was listening to a lot of metal at the time. Because one, I had this instrumental like thought about for a bit. I was like, I want to do a revisiting of Hollow, which is the opening track of the EP, and like that version of Hollow is completely different from this Hollow reprise. You know, nice. And the reason why I called it a reprise and not a remix is because, one, there is that feature on it, like Stic's feature is on it, which still it doesn't compute that happened, because like he's one of my heroes, you know, and to hear him on a track with me is like insane to me. But like with that particular track, it was just like I was really just at like a cafe one day, you know, and I was like, I just need to make something right now and like not think about it, you know. And so the initial skeleton of it came out because I don't know, it's like I just chose BPM and like I just made some random drum beat, and well, that happened. And then like when I revisited it, because I decided I was going to put on the EP, I like listened to it. And I was like, you know what, this synth line is like not cutting it. Like, what can I do to make it a little fuller and also like a little more interesting? Because like you'll hear at the end of it, there's this ridiculous unwarranted section on it, you know, like at the end of it, like there's this outro that's completely unwarranted, and like the song could have been done without it. But I was like, once again, it's like, this is a self-indulgent record for me, you know. So like my whole thing with this was like, I was like, okay, so I'm happy with this verse chorus part. I was like, but how can I end it in a way that like Black Sabbath would end a song, you know? Like I don't know if you listen to a lot of Sabbath, but there's sometimes when like they have like Sabbath, interestingly enough, for nobody who knows, for people who don't know, they started off as jazz cats actually before they became like the godfathers of metal, which always interested me growing up. I was like, oh my god, these dudes are jazz cats, and like they basically started metal, you know. And any metalheads out there, if that is an inaccurate statement, I'm sorry, but like I've always thought they were the godfathers of metal. And so they would have these songs where it was just like, okay, here's the verse, here's the chorus, and then they would just go on these insane endings, like crazy endings, you know. And then so I wanted to just do something like that. I was like, how can I do it so that it's not like, so it makes a little sense, but it's like just to make it a little more interesting. So I created that outro just by like actually taking one of Stic's verse lines, and like that really hit me, and I took it and I just kind of like repeated it over and over again, and then I layered my vocals over it, because I was like, oh shit, this kind of feels like a chant, you know, it feels like a very important chant. And so like I just kind of built the outro around that. And I don't know, the way that I like pushed myself on it was just like, I really love the sounds of metal right now, because I was listening to a ton of melodic death metal, and I was like, how can I incorporate it in this? And you know, I like took my guitar and I was just like, I'm just gonna put ridiculous big power chords over this, and I don't know, I was happy with the result. And then I put like a little more guitar in it, so a lot of it grew because I decided to like start picking up guitar again, like a little more, and I wanted to start incorporating that, because my whole plan, I know this is like, I always get way ahead of myself, but this particular track was the last one I recorded, and my whole plan for my next EP is to like have half of it be all real instruments, like live instruments,
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to start getting into guitar again if I want to start writing for this. So like this particular track, which is the last track on the record, is kind of my nudging myself into starting to write more on guitar again and starting to think about like organizing things in a way that I could like, you know, play drums over and stuff. So this is like, this track was like mentally preparing myself to like, for what I have planned next. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. Because I always get really ahead of myself, which is like, I don't know, I already mapped out like the next things that I'm going to work on. And I'm like, I don't know when they're going to happen, but like, I know how I want to do it, you know, and like this will help me in that process for what's coming next. So I don't know if any of that made any sense.
Oh yeah, that totally made sense.
You ever get that feeling? Like sometimes I like will go off on a tangent and I'm like, man, I don't know if that made sense to anybody else but me.
No, man, I totally get it, man. How did this collaboration happen with Stick-man?
So really interesting. Which goes, and like, you know, I think the end of the story is like never stop yourself from doing something, which what you said on your previous recording, like just do it. I follow him on Instagram, and he was like, he made a post. And he's like, hey, one of my fans reminded me that I would do this again. He's like, in the next 48 hours, I have time to like listen to people's instrumentals and concepts. And he's like, I'll do a feature verse for $500, right? And he's like, if I dig the concept, then I dig the instrumental. And I'm like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Because like, I mean, you know, I'm sure you know how much people usually charge for like features and stuff. And like, oh, yeah. To me, like for like he's like a legend to me. And I was like, yeah, if like this is a shot in the dark, but I'll send him my instrumental and this concept, and if he does it, like I'll shell out some money that I had put aside because this is one of my dreams, you know. Right. And like to me, for somebody of his stature, it's like that's relatively like, I don't know, like when I'll have an opportunity, because I have inquired with other like people I've looked up to for features, and they just didn't go through because I couldn't afford it, because it was just like, it was actually well beyond that, you know. So I kind of like, that was within my like how much I was like willing to put into a track. So I sent over the instrumental and the concept, and like not expecting anything, because I don't think too much of myself. So I'm like, I'll send this over. I don't know if he's gonna respond. And I'm like one of the artists he got back to, and he recorded the verse and sent it over. And I was like, I can't be more thankful, because it just sounds like, I don't know how he did it, like with as many artists as he did it with, but it feels like a very genuine effort, you know. And that means a lot to me, like for somebody of his stature, and like somebody who as busy as he is. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but he's always doing stuff, like always doing stuff. So yeah. But yeah, that's what happened. He just put up a post, and he's like, yeah, send me an instrumental and a concept. If I dig it, I'll get back to you personally. And I was like, cool. And unexpectedly, he got back. So yeah. And it was funny, because that's, you know, talking about pressure and stressed out. Like, it was it was the last thing I was working on. And like, if you look at my Instagram, there's actually a photo of me, because I don't like to like give things away until it actually happens, because I'm like weirdly superstitious. I was like, oh, if I tell anybody this is happening, like it's not gonna happen, you know. So as I'm working on it, like I took a photo of myself, and I was like, this is my really stressed face, because like I want to make this production as good as possible, because like one of my heroes are on it, you know. Right. That was super stressful for me. And then in the end, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be me, and I just gotta think about how I could make this the best that I can, you know. So but yeah, so yeah, that's about that track and how that happened. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh man, that's great though, man. That you were able to read. Man, that's incredible.
It was just crazy timing. It was just, yeah. I happened to see the post because like he posted about it later, like where he took a photo of like the artist that he did it with, and he was like, I finally finished my last one, like this was crazy, but I got it done, you know. And then I see other people like commenting, like, oh shit, how did I miss out on this? And I was like, oh shit, like I'm glad I just happened to see this post, you know. Like, yeah. And then like it's funny because this kind of gave me the confidence to reach out to people that I've wanted to work with, because in the end, right, like if this didn't happen, I was like, I wouldn't have lost anything, you know? And I think a lot of what holds myself back, once again, when you said just do it, like that's important for me, because I'm my own worst enemy. And like there's these people that I've been planning to reach out to that I've wanted to work with, and I just like have been like, no, like, and like, I can't do that. Like, who am I to reach out to them, you know? And then now I'm just like, I have nothing to lose. Like, what am I worried about? It's crazy. It's like they either say no or they don't get back to me. Like, you know, like that's the worst of it. Like nothing is really going to happen, you know? So this particular track was important to me because it kind of gave me the confidence to be like, might as well do it because something might happen, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And P-Cruz, what led to the confirmation and confidence that you have today to push yourself, to believe in yourself, to know that you can really do what you do and do it better than some, even when you don't think you can?
Yeah, I think it's a stubbornness that I have for some reason, where it's like whenever I get involved in something, I always kind of want to take it to a certain level. Because I'm really hard on myself, you know? And my partner's noticed this. Like, she's always been like, yeah, like, why do you always have to take it to this point? And I was like, I don't know why. It's just this thing inside of me that is just like, I can always do it better than I'm doing it right now. And so it's funny because I think a lot of people mistake my stubbornness for confidence, which is understandable. Because, like, what, you know, I mean, it's like, I mean, you know how it is. Like, it does take a little bit of confidence to like get on stage and do things in front of people. But for me, like, the more that I think about it is like, and I don't know, I could be wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind in a few years. But like, a lot of it is like I get on the stage because that's what I think I'm supposed to do with music. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. It's like I see other people do it and I'm like, oh, so this is what it means to make music? Like, I have to like put out a record and like go on stage and perform it. Like, I do it because I see that that's how far you could take it, and I need to take it that far for some reason. So I don't even know if I'd equate that to confidence, other than or just like something inside of me is just always wanting to take things to like whatever level I see possible, you know?
Right.
So like, part of me is just like, I would love to get to a point where I feel comfortable just releasing something and like not caring about performing, not caring about who listens to it, not caring about like, you know, putting anything behind it. Like, I'd love to get to that point, but I think because of certain things that I've seen other people do and certain steps I've seen other people take, it's just like, this is kind of like the formula I'm used to. It's like record, like perform, and like, you know, try to get people to listen to your stuff. And I really think it's good and bad, you know. I think it's good because it like pushes me to do things and like I push myself, but it's also bad because I feel like I should at one point like break this formula, or else like I might just like I don't know, I might go crazy, you know.
Definitely. All right, man, this is probably one of the most wide open questions that I have for you. From your perspective about entering into the music scene of today's modern age, and a lot of artists still struggle with adapting to how to sell music and create a long-term career in the industry. Do you feel like it's still 100% possible to pursue and achieve the dream of living the life as a full-time artist?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it's just a little less straightforward, which I think it's always been a little less straightforward, but it's harder to see because, you know, I think the process was a little more mysterious before because there wasn't like social media and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I do think it's possible because there are people like you know Hobson. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he's like a millionaire or something, and like if I mention that name to people, he's not a rapper that everybody knows, right? Know? But he kind of like built his whole scene by himself. So sorry, not by himself. I don't know the history of it. Let me scratch that, because that's just something that just came out of my mouth. He built something that I think is unique to like the typical way of like that everybody usually like sees an artist trajectory. You know, like when I was a kid, I was always just like, okay, I need to like be famous to make it as a musician, you know. But I think actually just making a living off of it, I like absolutely think it's possible. But I think it's just like you have to take different roads now, you know. Like one thing that's actually been one thing that's been more lucrative to me than actually like the music that I've put out, which, you know, I haven't been doing it for that long, so I'm not like giving up hope. But like one thing that's been more financially lucrative for me is like making music for independent like films and like videos, you know, because you have a lot of people, because to me that's just like it's just the opportunity has been there. Like I've just made more freelancing, like doing like video work that involves music than I have like actually just music that I create, you know. But the thing is, the music that I create has kind of been able to have like gave people the confidence that I would be able to do the job that they needed to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's like if I didn't make this music, then I wouldn't have gotten those like gigs recently. And like I'm like, to me, I'm hoping to get more of those. Like I really enjoy that. I enjoy producing things for videos and films. So definitely. But like I'm not living off it right now. It's just I make more off of that. Like I would love to in the future, but I still, you know, like I still have my regular full-time job, like, and I'm not going to be leaving that anytime soon, you know. So,
is it because you like what you do, or because there's a fear factor there?
I think it's a mix of both. Like definitely a mix of both. Because I do like what I do. Like I happen to work in the music industry. I think I've told you this before. I work in the music industry, so I feel like I'm getting paid to go to school. Like I'm learning a lot. Like every day I'm learning a lot. And just recently I've gotten the most involved in like a release that I have before. And I've been able to, like, through that release, I've been able to like bridge my love of comic books with my love of music, which was like a huge get for me. So like, yeah, it's been really enjoyable. But yeah, it's also the fear, because I've like a lot of people who have made a living off of their art. Like a lot of the people that I've talked to, like the like successful freelance people, are just like, the reason I started doing this because I had to. They're like, you know what, like I lost my full-time job and like I had to hustle. So it's like part of me is like, would I be able to do it? Like if I left my full-time job, like would I be able to hustle like that? And like, I don't know. Like, so yeah, I mean, it is scary, because it's like, oh shit, I'm not going to have this regular paycheck. I'm not going to have this health insurance. You know? Like,
let me tell you, man, you would be able to do it.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thanks.
Not just off your skill, but because there would be nothing else, you know? Yeah. It will be all on you.
Yeah, and that's when that's when it seems like people thrive the most. I mean, like, I'm like a huge fan of. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but there was a little like time I had where I watched Shark Tank like all the time, man. Love it. I love it. And the common thing with people's success stories is like, yeah, this is like, you know, it's not the first thing they invented, and then they went through a time where like the lights were shut off in their house, you know, and then they just persevered through that. And in my head, I'm like, am I just too scared to put myself in that situation, you know? Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm just too scared, man.
You'll do fine, man. You'll do fine.
After the music break, it'll be time for our usual tradition. It is called the hot seat, and our fans love this part of the segment, and of course along with the actual interview, but the audience get to hear either some vocals, maybe your poem, spoken word, freestyle rap, jokes, stories, or maybe even live instruments from our special guests. Well, you never know what these creative minds and vessels will produce in a spotlight, and tonight we'll find out if P-Cruz have what it takes to be put on the spot, a test of his true artistry, and maybe even some hidden talent.
But for right now, we have a premiere of P-Cruz, Hollow Reprise, featuring Stick-Man of dead-prez. And just like you guys, it'll be my first time listening to it as well. I like to listen along with the listeners and, and not have the track already, in my brain, because I like to talk about the music, once we come back from the break. So here it is.
Please, like honest criticism. I'm totally cool with it, So if you don't like it, you can tell me.
All right, cool deal. All right, we'll be right back, guys.
So baby, head don't forfeit to the shade of pencil offering. It's ash from coal and portion. They said the charcoal poison will rest my inner voices like chemo heroes, sealed for savior, CeeLo, chance in vitros. How the born dead, how the dead fed to the sky claim, rain blood red. Intestines for the king thread, skin shavings for the sheep head. Point fingers and massage legs, hard walking slow and feetless. On a backbone for half tones, the yells must remain screechless. Is speechless, the reject who fights off peace and regress. For jumping into pits of apple cores and Eden's feeding reasons. Hollow, 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 hollow.
What is truth? True religion. Can a man have two religions? Can you serve God and the system? Do pedophile priests get forgiveness? Was Jesus white like in them pictures? Was he a Jew or was he Christian? Was it stolen from the Egyptians? Can Santa bring the answer for Christmas? Does God speak to just a priest? Do you practice what you preach? I don't know how to understand why these priests molest young men. The Pope support the war machine. Is all this bloodshed in God's name? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? Is it true? Are we born in sin? Do we die to be born again? Can I trust what your Bible says? Should we turn our cheeks? Should we bow our heads? Should I pay my tithes or pay my rent? Is hell poverty? Is heaven rich? See, I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? Hollow, 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 hollow. Your blessings touch as lightning and bridge the earth to skypace. The swine that dine on wine and sides of life carved right from my wrist. They fall and die when I decide to wipe my eyes of iris. You filled them high with lies of right. My sight is blinded, I rip. Burn tips of broiled coils, the brand that people oils. It lubricates my face for faith that's safe for royal loyals. It touches fertile soil and water rivers boil to cook the roots and shoots of Buddha, bamboo, neuron foil. Hollow, 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 hollow. I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow? I'm confused, I can't follow. Is it holy or is it hollow?
Alright, and we are back. That was P-Cruz, Hollow Reprise, featuring Stick-Man of dead-prez. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. First of all, the beat was slamming. Man, that was an incredible beat. And then the record itself, I see why Stick-Man jumped on it. It was very unique. Like I said, man, the beat was there. The concept, the verses, oh my goodness, I have to play this song over after this show. Oh yeah. Man, I'm so hyped about this song. It's so cool, man. I could imagine a music video to that as well. Man, I'm super stoked. So, I just want to tell you guys to relax. Have you ever noticed that when you don't need any new business, that's when you get it? And when you desperately try to increase your sales, you can't seem to find any new customers. Like even right now with the show, there are times where I have to go out and, door to door. Hey, you need an interview? Hey, you need an interview? Because, I don't have any interviews on the table. That means no money is coming in. But then there's other times where I can't catch a break. And I'm doing 3 interviews a day all week. Yeah. But hey, it gets like that. But sometimes it seems that the harder you try, the less effective you are. It's possible to try too hard, to get so uptight and centered on something that you lose your effectiveness. Too much of anything can cause tunnel vision and burn out. A healthy dose of perspective can be your cure. Have you ever been stuck trying to figure out the answer to a tough problem? You work on it, and you can't seem to find the answer. I'm a video gamer, so there were times where I'd be stuck on this level or this boss, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. This is before, people start putting their great boss battles on YouTube, so there was no manuals for that. You had to figure it out. And I would go to bed, I would dream about how I can defeat these bosses, and then the next day I would defeat the bosses sometimes, because I dwell on the problems, work on it. After 55 lives going down the gutter, we finally come up with an answer. Well, sometimes in those cases you take the weekend off, you come back to it on Monday, and suddenly the answer is obvious. Even with songwriting, there's writer's block one day. It's like, hey, I can't dwell on this. Let me sleep on it, take a vacation, do something else, watch Better Call Saul or The Flash or Arrow or something like that, and come back to the song. And then, suddenly the answer is there for you. What happened? You got so close to the problem, you could not find a solution. And when you backed away for a while, you were able to see much more clearly. Of course, persistence is vital. It's very important in any enterprise. And so is balance. Don't get too obsessed with a particular outcome or a detail that you lose your balance. Learn to put all things in perspective. Sure, you want to land that prospective customer, but not at the expense of your family or your health, or most importantly, your time. The trick is to remain focused on the outcome you desire without becoming consumed by it. Learn to integrate all aspects of your life. Take time for fun, take time for family and friends, no matter how busy you are. And make it a point to learn something new each day in a field that's totally unrelated to what you're working on. I have kids. My life is very, very busy, but I still make time to play with them, even when I don't have the time. Because later on in life, they'll remember, oh, he was too busy, old Scrooge, to work and, instead of play and talk with us. So, all things considered, learn to integrate a healthy balance into your life at all times. Especially the most stressful periods, you'll find that you can often get more done by trying a little less. I mean, Donald Trump does it, right? Ooh, I didn't say that. All right, so let's bring P. Cruz back on before I get in trouble with the Republicans. All right, P. Cruz, man, you're back live in the mix with us.
Hello.
Yes. Man, incredible track.
Thank you.
Dude,
Thank you.
That beat was slamming.
Yeah, thank you, man.
That
Thanks
beat
a lot. That means a lot. Thank you.
The verses were perfect. Stick-man was perfect, and he pulled off almost like an LP flow there.
Oh yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
Man, that was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like the moment when I you know how he ends his verses, I'm confused, I can't follow, is it holy or is it hollow? Like as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, like he included like the name of the song in his verse. Like I just kind of flipped I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I mean, that's why I took that and like I chopped it up at the end and like repeated it because it was such a crazy moment for me. I was like, I gotta like make something out of this for the outro, you know. So
yeah, it made me shiver, man.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't shiver too often, but it gave me goosebumps. So this is our usual tradition. It's called the hot seat, and our fans love this part of the segment, of course, along with the actual interview. But the audience get to hear you one more time. Give us some vocals or a poem, spoken word. You can freestyle, rap, tell us a joke, a story, or even whip out your drum set, man.
One day, you know what? I was actually thinking, if not everybody in the house was sleeping, I was gonna take my acoustic guitar out because I've been practicing doing this run, like this kind of scale run while rapping, and I'm almost there. But I was gonna do that, but I was like, it's too loud. But one day I'll bring an instrument on because I'm sure we'll speak again in the future. You know.
Oh yeah, we have to.
Yeah, I could do. My voice might be a little weird because I've been sick all day, but I'll give you like a preview of a verse of this next concept record that I have. Like I've written half of it, and it's called A Meditation on Death. And this is a verse from one of the songs that are written already, if that's cool with you.
Cool.
Yeah. I saw you in a cardboard box, waiting for the flames to drop, to incinerate and eviscerate any evidence of your rot, any semblance of that chop that those free radicals top, those mutates that drew states with some chemo and some chalk. They say that's why you are gone. With your own hands you strung. That neck rope was dead hope, cause the cancer respun. If it's true, favor just one. Get that fact over to mom. She cries guilt, built with, there's something I could have done.
Nice. I like that. It's dope, man.
Thanks.
No doubt. Well, man, you made it to the end. Thank you again for your time, my brother.
No, thank you, man. It's enjoyable to talk to you, man. And yeah, man, I'm hoping we get to play a show together sometime in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, when I send you over my EP, please like keep me up to date with the new record you said was coming out, man. I'd love to hear it. So.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, man, but it's not as crazy as yours.
Not
crazy. Yours was legit.
Yo, you are legit, man. Don't say that.
Man, I'm super impressed, man. That was a great track.
Thank you.
And that
Thank
just
you
came
much.
out today, right?
Yeah, it just came out today. Yeah, no, and that's great. I was like, I'm glad. I'm like honestly relieved because I was like, I was when we were first mixing this, because I was like, once again, I had Black Sabbath on the brain, and like I was just listening to a lot of death metal, like especially this artist called Arch Enemy, which they're like a really dope melodic death metal band. And I was like, man, are these guitars like too much? I was like, and then when I was thinking about it, I was like, nah, whatever. This is what I'm listening to right now, and I love this sound, so I'm just gonna keep them all there, you know. So I've been always like worried, like, oh man, are these like palm muted chuggy guitars gonna be too much? So, I'm relieved, man. I'm relieved that you said that, dude. So.
Oh yeah, man. Even though I have the song, I'm going to buy it as well, just because.
Oh, dude, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I'm Bandcamp and iTunes. I think right now it's the EP is available for pre-order, and then you get that track as like an instant download if you do it for Bandcamp or iTunes. I think so.
Those are the only place that it's available.
Nah, it should be everywhere.
Okay. I was gonna say, man.
Yeah, those are just the common places.
Eye to eye right now.
No, dude. I'm actually really so I love Bandcamp. Bandcamp's my favorite place because I think they're trying to innovate things for artists and like give them a one-stop place for all their stuff. But yeah, iTunes. I don't know if you've heard about this, but they're trying to like push their streaming service more now.
Yeah.
Which to me is just like, people already have Apple Music. Like, it was nice that they had like their front page was like, buy this album or whatever. Like they were still trying to get people to buy things. And then now they're switching over and they're trying to like change their front page to like target streaming more, and like that kind of sucks. Like it does. I mean, like everybody knows, like I think streaming's great for the consumer. Like I can't deny that. It's awesome for the consumer because they get to access all this music, but I don't think it's great for the artist. And the fact that iTunes has been changing their tune about that is just like, it sucks because I feel like they used to encourage buying, but I don't know if that's the reason why you're not seeing eye to eye with them.
Well, yeah, that and they've just been changing over the years, and I'm not really in favor to these changes.
Yeah, it sucks. And it sucks because I love Bandcamp and I want to point people towards that direction, but a lot of people just don't know what Bandcamp is unless you're a musician. Like all musicians and artists like know what Bandcamp is, but it's not too much of a consumer fate. Like there's like not as many people know about that as like know about iTunes, So,
yeah.
That's the only reason why I say iTunes, because I feel like that's where most people get their stuff now, or Spotify. Like, and it'll be on Spotify too. Like that single should be that single's on Spotify right now too, and then the whole record will be on there next week. So if people prefer to stream, I'm not gonna like not put my music in a place where people could listen to it, because I'm relatively unknown still, so I don't want to, but I really believe, I 100% believe in like voting with your dollars. So like I try to buy music when I can,
Definitely.
Yeah. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Oh, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Thank you, P. Cruz, man. You're an incredible guy. I believe we'll probably be best of friends. You like comics. I like comics. You like rock. I like rock.
Yo, yeah, all of that. Man, I just came back from New York Comic Con, and like I'm still high off of New York Comic Con. So,
did you dress up?
I did not have time to because I was working on this damn record.
Work first, yeah.
Next year, I'm planning to cosplay. I really want to. And you mentioned Better Call Saul, which a lot of people I know don't watch. So I love Better Call Saul.
Man, I spend a lot of time just looking at the character development. That's
the biggest part of that. Man. Yeah, the development of the characters in Better Call Saul is like nothing I've seen. Like for me personally, like I think even goes beyond what they did in Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Man, Bob Odenkirk. Oh man, jeez.
Dude, he's killing it. He's killing it. Like, what? He's, oh my gosh, Mr. Show to now. It's like, what? What the heck?
Yeah. I was talking to a Canadian writer who just did a TV series, and I was asking him which would he prefer, the fame or the credit. And I kind of compared it to Bob Odenkirk. I was like, man, he's been writing for these shows for years, and nobody didn't know who he was. I mean, everybody in Hollywood did, but us as viewers didn't know who he was until Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he is the man.
He really is, and he's been hustling for years. Like I love things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's cool, man. And
I'm trying to get Patrick Fabian or Odenkirk himself on the show. Working on that for November.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Howard Hamlin. He was an a-hole, but he was good. He was good.
Wait, who's Howard Hamlin? Sorry about who's Howard Hamlin?
The partner of the firm that H&M.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
The blonde hair guy.
Yeah,
with the suits.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You had him on?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
You're working on it. Cool, man. That's dope. I'll be looking out for that. Man.
Yeah, because they just renewed for season 4.
Hell yeah. I was worried they weren't going to get renewed because it's a slow show. It's like pretty slow.
Yeah,
you know,
very slow.
I was worried, but I was like, I guess they have a consistent fan base enough, you know, to keep it going. So, yeah, man. Anyway, I could, But thanks again for having. Like, as soon as I got the email that I would be doing this again, I was like super excited, man. Like,
cool.
It's great. I mean, dude, you should be like a motivational speaker, man. Like, dude, like it was great. It was like everything, all the advice that you give, man. It's just certain things I need to hear. Like, even though it's like it's important things that I feel like people tell me over and over again, but I need to hear all the time, you know, because it's tough to remember certain things, man. The way you present it, it's just like, it's really effective, you know. I'm just like, yeah, Dini's right, man. I gotta change things.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. And thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for being so faithful and not hanging up when my internet just blacked out. Guys, I don't know how you did it. Maybe you were on Facebook or Snapchat or something. Like, look at this idiot Dini. Internet blacked out. But I'm going to stay anyway. But, yeah, thank you for that. And checking out the podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio. All episodes are available for free download, or you can grab that from Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, iTunes, YouTube, any app that's on the Google Play or iTunes Store. Maybe you boycott iTunes like I have. But the podcast's still available there. No shade at iTunes. Or you can just grab it from our website. You can always do that, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you'd like to request music or a particular guest or send something for me to play, email it to me at theradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That's V as in Victor. Make sure you label your music. And here's my disclaimer. We are genre free. We do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay, but facts alone. And actually, you can scratch all of that because all of my opinions are always right. This is my show. You got to deal with that. I'm just kidding. On behalf of myself, dini-mussolini, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring, and we stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. All right, be sure to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, as well as Spreaker. We always follow back. And one final thought, just remember to be yourself and be absolutely freaking great at just doing that. Peace, and we'll see you guys again sometime soon. Oh, there is no outro music this time, so I guess I'll go do 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 do. See you guys later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.